It is time now to know what's on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. Public affairs analyst Shijibumi Adibi Bennett and political technocrat Dr. Dayo Kayode are here with me in the studio. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
Let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Daily Times. Constitution Review gulps 5 billion naira. Constitution Review gulps 5 billion naira. You find that story on the front page of the Daily Times. To the front page of the Leadership newspaper now. Bandits kill 52 in Katsina, Oyo, Zamfara, raise palace. Bandits kill 52 in Katsina, Oyo, Zamfara, raise palace. You find that story on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. To the Blueprint, amidst tension, security operatives killed 11 gunmen in Delta, Imo. Amidst tension, security operatives kill 11 gunmen in Delta, Imo. Police station, commissioner's house razed. 10 die in a Gongon bandits police gunfire. Obas Palace ablaze. You find details of these stories on the pages of the Blueprint newspaper. To the first news now. In Gongon boils again as suspected herdsmen attack residents, kill scores. In Gongon boils again as suspected herdsmen attack residents, kills scores. To the Daily Trust newspaper, terrorism financing, 180 BDC operators pay 900 million naira penalties to the CBN. 180 BDC operators pay 900 million naira penalties to the CBN. You find details of the story on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. To the Business AM, CBN sees light as Nigeria gradually unifies FX rate. CBN sees light as Nigeria gradually unifies FX rates. To the Business Day, FX trade doubles as Nigeria's central bank restores market transparency. FX trade doubles as Nigeria's central bank restores markets transparency. To the national economy now, maintenance, repair and overhaul local airlines aircraft trapped abroad due to forex scarcity. Maintenance, repair and overhaul of local airlines aircraft trapped abroad due to forex scarcity. To the Vanguard newspaper, Igongo massacre, callous, provocative, excuse me, Southwest governor speaking there, outrageous gunmen kill over 20 in fresh attack in Igongo. Over 50 attackers came on 20 motorcycles. Residents, monarchs, whereabouts unknown. You find details of that story on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. To the Nigerian Tribune, outrage as herdsmen kill 11 in Igongo. We will defend our people. Amotekun to begin joint patrol of Yoruba land. Southwest governors. The Fulani burnt the palace, filling station, several shops, killed our people. Ibarakwa North local government boss. Makinde calls for calm, says police combing area in search of culprits. Alafin, Afenifere, Area Dams, others react. Bloody weekend, still talking about the Igongo killings. 45 killed, scores injured. Obas Palace, 60 houses, 165 vehicles razed in alleged herdsmen attack in Oyo. 6 killed as gunmen razed police station in Delta. Commissioner, local government's chairman's homes in Imo. Defend yourselves against attack, Akeredolu tells Yoruba. The Nation newspaper now. Southwest governors Amotekun's joint operations. Security outfit gets marching order after killing of 20 arson in Igongo. To the Nigerian News Direct, Nigeria to lose 65.3 billion naira on Twitter ban in 30 days. Federal government should worry about collateral damage to business. LCC, national interest outweighs economic implication, Altcon president. To the Punch newspaper, still talking the Twitter ban, hashtag Twitter ban, job losses loom, economic woes to worsen, NESG expert warn, with present economic woes, we shouldn't add to our people's problems. NESG speaking there, ban will dampen foreign investors' interest in Nigeria's businesses, say economic experts. It will disrupt thousands of small businesses capable of creating 70% jobs, SME owners. All right, to the Guardian newspaper, $12 billion e-commerce suffers as Twitter bans costs 7.5 billion naira in 3 days. Federal government in talks with China consider internet firewall to block VPN access. A4AI Nigeria says situation creates $1.2 billion loss for MSMEs. Raise questions of our readiness for investors, says Outcome. Gentlemen, I'm certain you might want to react to this development coming as a result of the ban on Twitter. The amount of losses said to be recorded in 3 days is about 7.5 billion naira already. And another paper here is saying that Nigeria will lose about 65.3 billion naira in 30 days as a result of this ban, and there are concerns of more economic woes looming as this ban continues. Shijibumi.
Yes, we were all surprised when we heard about the ban. That was 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And but most times I don't just focus on all these consequences. I focus on the root problem. The ban was not supposed to come at all. It was a mistake and an error by the government, to the best of my personal opinion. And I believe, and when I engaged some of my friends on some platforms, I said, I believe within weeks, Twitter and Nigerian government will sort themselves out, because for the first time... You
think? Because here on the page of The Guardian...
They will engage themselves. They will sort themselves.
The government is in talks with China.
Yeah. The government wants to grandstand a bit, and I believe because the government has not been able to prevent the use of Twitter.
Because of our capacity.
Yes, my Twitter handle is still working. I'm not using a VPN.
Right.
So it's still working. As of this morning, it's still working perfectly fine. So those are the things.
I hope you did use it.
He said he didn't use it. That's what he said. He said he didn't use VPN. So I'm wondering how it is, because mine is not working.
Yeah, mine has been working, and I think a few persons have had their Twitter still functioning perfectly. So, but the problem is not just banning Twitter. It's about perception, and I think it's an error on the government, because there were so many options to take. For me, if I was an advisor of the government, the first thing I would have done is, out of protest, deactivate all the government officials' account on Twitter, give Twitter 1 week to engage them for 1 week, and tell them, if you don't restore that video in 1 week, we will ban you from Nigeria. For me, personal opinion, I don't see anything wrong in that tweet, because it was not
that even, the president made.
It was not even a tweet. It was a
perception.
Statement. Yes, perception. So because we tend to, define in any context we want. So it was a statement. INEC came to meet the president, the INEC officers, and they were talking about 41 houses.
Giving a report of what has happened in the east.
You have courts being burnt in that region. You have INEC offices being burnt. You have police stations being burnt, and policemen massacred in that region. So the president was saying he has waited a bit to understand what they wanted, and at this point, he has seen that they just want to bring down his government. And that some of them that have been in the trenches that fought the war, they understood what they went through, and we talk to them in the language they understand. We address them we treat them in the language they understand. Now, the reference people are taking is the perceived genocide
of the war.
That reference was not, I will do the same. I suffered that time. So I don't want Nigerians, innocent Nigerians, to go through that thing. That's my definition. But Twitter is not to be blamed in its entirety.
On people's perception.
Yes. Now, what people did, because I belong to like 2 platforms that people even said, let's report it, and they started. It was like a campaign to just make sure we get at the presidency. That doesn't concern Twitter. Twitter doesn't know. Twitter manages a lot of account. So they don't care.
Once a tweet is being reported,
yes,
that is where they flag.
The challenge, the challenge now on Twitter, which that's why I mentioned that you can't take the blame out of, you can't blame them in its entirety, is that people have evidences that they've reported some people's tweets before to Twitter, which were more grievous and more wickedly written. And Twitter responded that those tweets did not flout any of their rules. And those tweets were apparently more kind of, what's the word now? Were more grievous or oughting, let me just put it like that, than the president's tweet. So let's leave that. The core of the problem is the fact that as Nigerians, we tend to repeat our mistakes and we don't repeat our success model.
Right.
Yes, and I will explain that very well in 2 sentences, if you can allow me. Because we need to go on. Yes, number one is the fact that when the Niger Delta Avengers started, there was a success model. Engagement. Engage them, talk to, if you can't talk to IPOB because they are proscribed, talk to our NZ youth and resolve the issue. Oshibajo did that, then under Goodluck Jonathan, something like that happened. But the model of the Boko Haram, because when Boko Haram started, the average northerner believed that they were fighting for the north. And they didn't want them to be proscribed. They didn't want them to be named a terrorist organization. And we can see the same pattern with the people from that side.
All right, let's quickly go on this break and then we'll talk more on this issue. Do stay with us. So we're still looking at the papers and a reaction to the ban on Twitter, where the papers are reporting this morning that the ban will cost or has cost 7.5 billion naira in 3 days, and that job losses loom, economic woes to worsen, and the federal government is in talks with China considering internet firewall to block those trying to access the virtual private networks, that's the VPN. And Dr. Kayode, I wonder what your reaction is. Shijibumi has laid his position on this matter. I wonder what's yours.
Yes, I want to go also today on Shijibumi's position, other than he has been a little bit economical with his words.
How so?
And I'm going to lay it straight.
Okay.
There's no doubt about it that government, this particular government, has disappointed a lot of people. No doubt about it. In managing especially security and economy. I mean, let us lay that one straight. But at the same time, Twitter has gone too far to denigrate the sovereignty integrity of our nation. Sure, what the president said was about how to control security. We know that, yes, he had not been responsive when it comes to security in Nigeria. But what he said, what he tweeted, was not as bad as what so many people had been coming up on Twitter. For them to have now said
they are now reported. That tweet
even when it was reported, why don't you investigate and do a comparative analysis with others that have been reported to you in the past and you have never taken action? If I went that first of all came, my man went straight to Okonjo Iweala.
Why?
That what was Okonjo Iweala doing as an executive director of Twitter? Is she not? Is she not a Nigerian? Does she know the implication of your president's tweet being removed? Does she know it? Or is she part of those? Or is she part of those that are sponsoring all these illicit activities in this country?
We cannot make such
I said, I'm only asking a question. I'm not making. It's a question based on her not taking action. And not you today. I've not even had him. I had her speaking.
Perhaps
all right. What I'm saying is,
yes.
One, our president, this government had not done well when it comes to security issues.
Right.
But I will still not stay in this country and then expect somebody elsewhere. It is our internal problem. And we need to solve our problems by ourselves.
But
look at what this thing has now generated. Listen, Veronica.
I just want to remind you something. That we have seen Twitter pull down the former U.S. president.
At what level? At what level?
To the extent it now banned him for 2 years.
And now, let me now ask you, look at that U.S. president. Look at things they have been tweeting on that particular platform. But did they say anything? Not until when the Capitol issue happened. Do you understand? But this one is now saying, look, I don't want my country to get to that level that we were during Civil War. Because you can see people burning this, people burning that, and all those things, they are being even caused by wrong tweeting. You see people, they will go and bring incident that has happened 55 years ago. They bring it and they say, it's happening now in Oshodi. It's happening now in Nkalagu. It's happening now in Meduguri. And you see people reacting. And you can now see what this thing has generated in the last 2 days in the country. Brothers have been fighting brothers. Sisters have been fighting brothers. Even twin sisters. I've seen them disagreeing. To the extent of slapping themselves on this issue. Why should we allow our country to be going into the abyss like this? And then we will now allow foreign hands to also be putting fire into it. I wouldn't agree with Twitter. I wouldn't agree with Twitter.
Is feeling this whole matter with all of this issue. Now,
listen to this. At what point has Twitter ever brought down misinformation in this country? Even those information that has happened 55 years ago, and people will now bring on that particular platform. Have they been pulling it down?
Perhaps if it was
reported, well advised to pull stuff down.
Perhaps if it was reported.
But as I had Chijibon when he was talking about some of them being reported, and he just look at it, okay, it's not as grievous as whatever. But then they are even more grievous than what the president tweeted. You know, I'm never a supporter of the president, and I'm proud to say it anywhere. But on this, Twitter has gone so far.
And so the step that the government took is in the right direction. Is that what you're saying?
Well, for government to have done that, it is a reaction to what they did. That look, don't come and put fuel into what is happening in my country. Even though I know they are also part of this problem. But what my own is, we Nigerians should not allow externalities to be adding salt to our injury. Right. We are already having a lot on our hands to tackle. We know that we are not having the kind of government we're supposed to have in this country. We know that our economy is bad, security is bad, presidency is not even treating people the way they're supposed to treat them. There was a platform I was on last week, and I was talking about leadership idiocy as regards of not handling security issues intelligently. No doubt about it. But then we should not allow external forces to be turning us against each other. Right. It's not proper. We should learn. We should learn from what happened in Libya. We should learn from what happened in Libya.
All right. Shijibomi, your final words on this matter, because we need to wrap up.
Yes, if I may clarify, I think we should always the government should try to be proactive at all times. What I meant that time, because I did it in a rush, is the fact that when Boko Haram started in 2009, and the government was trying, under Yar'Adua and under Goodluck Jonathan, was trying to make sure they nip it in the bud. What many people from the north reportedly were doing, including the present president, who was a citizen that time, who was not in government, was to say, you can't keep killing northerners. So they didn't allow the government to really nip it in the bud. We have started another one now. If the people from the south, I'm not talking about Southeast alone, all of us from the south, do not see the danger again, this portends, and we're trying to do our Arawani, they are part of us again, and we don't, because that's the same error that was done that time. We're repeating it. Why do we always repeat our errors and mistakes? Why do we not learn from our successes? Engage these people. Engage your Anese youth. They are not proscribed. Engage Masop. They are not proscribed. And make sure that you find a resolution to the things happening in the southeast, in the south-south, and the entirety of the country. So that's my take on it. So the government should be more proactive, not waiting until people leverage on a platform like Twitter to wreak havoc on our country and reacting in such manner. Right.
We'll leave the conversation here now. Shijibumi Adebi Bennett, Dr. Dayo Kayode, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for